with what we have. So, where was I? Right here. Yeah, I would prefer to do something like this. Maybe even public, static, final, int, default, side, count equals 6. Okay, this is a much better style than this line right now. Much better choice, right? So this is a very good choice to make to declare a static variable inside of our class. It's final, so it's completely safe. It gets initialized to what we want, and then instead of using this questionable 6 literal, we're now using something much more descriptive. So it's a good example. Well, anyway, so we have those, and then, you know, so as soon as we create the object of this class, die, we put the face value to something, to a reasonable, something reasonable. So let's go try using it. Right, so we can now, in our main method, we could create, of course, an array of dice. How about that? So die, die, and it's an array, right? So this is what this is the the syntax that we use to declare an array is to use double square brackets and say dice, right? So we have plenty of dice, and we can say new die and specify an array of maybe 10 dice, right? How about this? Okay, so dice is an array, and it has like 10 individual objects in it. Remember that array is in Java, arrays are objects, but they are really arrays of references to objects in case if the type of an array is a non-primitive type. An integer array is an array of integers. A double array is an array of doubles. However, an array of die objects is not an array of die objects, but an array of references to die objects. So they're actually probably very close to the size of an integer. So, which means that I have to individually, maybe, in a for loop. So how about this? How about this? We'll say final int, which makes that int static. Final int dice count equal 10, so that our code becomes descriptive. All right, so we have this 10 dice. We create this array of 10 dice, but again using this. So then we can basically say integer index starts from 0, because array are 0 based on Java. We very often begin with that, and we can use just a very traditional loop, a for loop, where we can say, all right, the initial condition already is specified, so we just start with semicolon. I mean the initialization part of the for loop is blank, because we already initialized our loop variable, and I'm planning to use IDX as a loop control variable. So as long as IDX is less than dice count, so we stay nicely within the boundaries of our array, we increment IDX every time we are looping through this. Of course, everybody knows that saying IDX is the same as saying IDX equals IDX plus 1. A lot of programmers prefer this form because it's much shorter, and it's very common. I will discuss increment and decrement operators. This would be a decrement version, or this is an increment version, and we'll talk about this. But for now, just sort of like intuitively, I want to use this operator to say, okay, increment this variable by 1 on each iteration. And so inside the loop, I will go to my dice array, and I find each of the dice, and I will say new die, and we'll create it, and hopefully it gets populated with uh, uh, the face value and so forth. So I should be able to produce the correct face value. And at this point, right? So let's put a comment here. Say create array array of objects, and we'll say unpopulated. And then we'll say populate array with real references to objects. And of course, we do create our objects by calling the new operator. And immediately remember the reference to each new object that we create inside of the unique placeholder of the reference inside of our array. So we can say that now the array is fully populated, right? So so we can now say how do we sort it? Okay, if we're comparing, previously what was already discussed to an array of integers, we could create an array of integers using this an initializer list, specifying particular values, and we can just use arrays utility class. How about we try the same? Okay, so presumably arrays sort dice. Dice is the name of our array, and so sort is expecting that. And of course the magic is to fix imports. It's kind of cool that you can do something like that and it creates an import. I'm sort of like trying to abuse this feature too much in this class, but so that it's there, why not? But of course a lot of people just type it in by hand. All right, so we've got that. So let's try to sort. All right, to make let's actually try to build this and run, and then how about this? I'll steal this enhanced for loop syntax as well. How about this? Actually, I will create another static method which says display display results. How about this? Display results. And it will take dice as a parameter. Okay? So display results will be another public, maybe public static method which doesn't return anything. We say void. The name is display results, and what it takes as a parameter, this particular method, it will take the type, the data type, which is the array of dice, and that's the thing. So I will simply redeclare this here, right? So I have a method which will take some dice, an array of dice object and objects, and be able to display the results. All right, so since the face value is private, how about I add another operation? very similar to get site count, right? So this one will say get face value. Okay, so we have that, and it will return the face value, of course. All right. So get face value, and what I'll do here is that, again, like I said, I can steal this sort of loop, but modify it to my own. Um, Again, when you copy and paste and looks messy, remember source format does the magic trick on you. So dice right here, individual object here is the die. I'm sorry. I'll call it one die. So an enhanced loop uses a different form of the for loop, which essentially takes two parts. A small declaration of a variable which will be used as an enumerator, in our case, a reference to individual dice inside of our array, and provide the collection, in our case, an array. And then we can print here, but again, let me save first.